This is Anupam Tripathi, and in this video today I would be asking very pertinent questions to the Government of India, the Bharatiya Janata Party, to my Prime Minister Modi ji, and to the Home Minister of India Amit Shah ji. But before I begin with my questioning the government on the Citizen Amendment Act 2019, here are my few submissions. The first submission that I'm making against the Citizen Amendment Act of 2019 is that this act is wholly unconstitutional. It's patently unconstitutional. It is opposed to Article 14 of the Constitution of India. It is opposed to constitutional morality. It is opposed to the preamble to the Constitution. It is opposed to the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, with that said, I have a series of questions that I wish to ask the Government of India, my Prime Minister, my Home Minister, and the Bharatiya Janata Party. And my questions are as follows. How do you group three countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh, while leaving out other neighbors, namely Myanmar, Bhutan, Nepal, Tibet, and Sri Lanka? How do you do that? That's my first question. Now, you see, if you go back to India pre-independence, then you have to go back to 1935, Government of India Act or Indian Independence Act 1935 or Government of India Act 1935. At that point in time, all these countries were part of India, that is pre-independence India. These were all territories of Bharat, right? So how do you pick three and you leave aside the remaining four? How do you do that? That's my first question to you. How do you justify including 6 religious groups while leaving out the Rohingyas, the Hazarias, and the Ahmadiyas? How do you justify including Christians but leaving out Judists? How do you leave out from your definition of persecuted minorities the Tamils of Sri Lanka, the Rohingya Muslims of Myanmar, the Christians of Bhutan, and the Ahmadiyas of Pakistan? This kind of exclusionary and inclusionary hyphenation is beyond any logic and common sense. How do you do that, Mr. Home Minister? Please explain to me. How do you only include religious persecution and leave out political persecution, linguistic persecution, cultural persecution, regional persecution? How do you do that? To all the illegal migrants or the immigrants who've entered India after 1971, say 1972 and onwards, till 31st December 2014, Hindus, Muslims, you tell me, all those who have entered, now you've made a provision to give automatic citizenship to the Hindus, but you leave out the Muslims. So my next question to you is, like in Assam, after doing NRC, you figured that there were 19 lakh illegal immigrants, X lakh number of them were Hindus, X lakh number of them were Muslims. Now my question to you is, while under CAA 2019 the Hindus will get benefit and the Muslims will not, my next question to you is, what do you intend then doing with these Muslims who are not covered under CAB? So they are not included under CAB and they are excluded under NRC. What do you do with them? Do you put them in detention camps? Do you put them in jails? Do you throw them out of the country and ask them to go to the country they came from? Will that country accept them? Will that country not accept them? Or will you simply take away their voting rights? That's my question to you. What will you do with them is what I need to know. Correct me if I'm wrong and tell me how and where am I wrong in formulating this particular analogy that I believe is applicable to the CAA 2019 that you brought in. You are in the middle of a sea and you have space for 5 more people who can come in owing to a shipwreck that has just happened, and you have this rescue boat on you, right? Now there are 2 people that you come across who are drowning in the middle of the high sea, and you have space for 5 more who can come in. You ask one of them before he comes into your rescue boat, what religion do you belong to? And he says, I am Hindu. You ask him, which country are you coming from? He says, Bangladesh. You let him in under CAA 2019. The other person tries coming to your boat. You ask him, what religion? He says, Muslim. Say, what country? He says, Pakistan. You say, sorry Baba, under CAA, I do not have space for you. Only persecuted Hindus are allowed, Sikhs are allowed, Parsis are allowed, but not Muslims from Pakistan, Afghanistan, or from Bangladesh. So you leave him out to die. You can very well give the rationale that, hey, there may be other boats also coming to rescue. But we don't know how many sharks are there in that ice, in those seas. We don't know how far the other rescue boat is. Rescue boats from Saudi Arabia, rescue boats from UAE may be on their way, may not, we don't know. But you're the first ones who reached him, and you do not allow the Muslim to come on board because he's a Muslim. That's what the CAA 2019 is. In my opinion, correct me if I am wrong, Mr. Home Minister, and let me know how I am wrong. Thank you. By passing the CAA 2019, tell me how you are not bringing to life the two-nation theory and giving credibility to the two-nation theory that was proposed by and propounded by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. How you are not doing that? Mr. Home Minister, at the time of our independence, this nation, including all its Muslims, had denounced the two-nation theory. How are you not bringing back to life and giving credibility to the two-nation theory of Muhammad Ali Jinnah? By passing the CAA 2019, my submission and my allegation is that by passing the CAA 2019, you giving credibility to and bringing to life the two-nation theory proposed by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. That's what you're doing. Correct me if I'm wrong and let me know how I'm wrong and what are your answers to this question of mine. Thank you. Now, with that said, I finish my questioning the Government of India, the Bharatiya Janata Party, my Prime Minister and the Home Minister of India. Let them answer these particular questions of mine. Friends, you should know that these are the questions that I have put forward before the Honorable Supreme Court in my PIL, by which I have challenged the CAA. I'd also like you to know that there are very strong voices coming from former Supreme Court judges like Justice Madan B. Lokur, Justice Hegde, Justice Markandeya Karju, who have all denounced the CAA 2019, it being ultra-virus to Article 14 of the Constitution. Voices from P. Chidambaram, from Kapil Sibal, from former Attorney General of India, Shri Soli Sorabji, have all denounced the CAA 2019. Then there are voices from the UN High Commission, voices by Venkataraman Ramakrishnan, a Nobel laureate, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, noted rights activist and lawyer Clifton Rosario, Justice P.B. Sawant, retired Supreme Court judge, Justice Suresh, Bombay High Court judge, Justice B.G. Kolse Patil, Bombay High Court judge, who have all unequivocally rejected the CAA 2019, and in the same breath they have also rejected NPR and NRC. These are all very, very strong voices. Just few of the popular strong voices, voices of huge credibility that I am putting forward, that I've also shared with the Honorable Supreme Court in my PIL, along with the arguments and submissions that they have made against the CAA, how it's ultra vires to Article 14 of the Constitution, and why it should be struck down under judicial review by this Honorable Supreme Court. So this is something for your information. Now, a lot of people who are ignorant of the law, ignorant of the Constitution of India, have been arguing that, look, Article 14 applies to citizens only. This is also some submission argument coming from mostly the Bhakts. So let me inform one and all and put the record straight. Friends, Article 14 and Article 21 of the Constitution of India applies to any person, including illegal immigrants and aliens. You don't have to be a citizen to be covered under Article 14 and Article 21 of the Constitution. Okay? A first year law student will tell you, and particularly a third year law student who studied Constitution will tell you that. As far as Article 14 is concerned, please understand, Article 14 is about right to equality. It is about reasonable classification. It is about intelligible differentia, and it is about ensuring that there is a nexus between the object of the act that it seeks to achieve and the reasonable classification. That's the intelligible differentia. But where the act on its own is manifestly arbitrary, then all of it goes. Okay? And the submission here that I'm making is that the CAA 2019 is manifestly arbitrary. And of course, even on intelligible differentia, reasonable classification also it goes, because there is no rationale or sound rationale behind selecting only 3 countries, leaving the others because they're all neighbors, selecting only 6 religions and leaving the others, selecting only religious persecution and leaving other sorts of persecution. There is no intelligible differentia, there is no rationale. And by leaving one religion and allowing others, that itself makes the act manifestly arbitrary and opposed to the secular fabric of the country, opposed to preamble to the Constitution, and ultra vires to Article 14 of the Constitution. And finally, friends, you should know that on Article 14, whether it is the Kesharan Bharti case, Indira Gandhi versus Rajanarayan case, the Saira Banu versus Union of India is the latest 2017 case, the Indian Express newspapers Bombay Limited versus Union of India case, State of West Bengal versus Anwar Ali Sarkar case, and all these landmark cases that support Article 14 and are very clear in its stand that where the law per se is manifestly arbitrary, or where the reasonable classification does not have a nexus with the object sought to be achieved, the intelligible differentia is lacking, or where it does have nexus but the law itself is manifestly arbitrary, in all such cases the act will go, or the amendment will go, because it will be declared ultra vires to Article 14. So these are all plethora of Supreme Court landmark judgments under which my submission is that this act, that is the CAA 2019, does not stand a chance. It will not be able to stand on its 2 legs based on the test laid out under all these landmark judgments. And finally, before I end this video, my last question that I would like to ask the people of India, including the Bhakts of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and of course also the government of India and my Prime Minister and also my Finance Minister, not just the Home Minister, is that India as of today is not growing at over 4.5% GDP. Our unemployment rate has touched 6.2% and beyond, which is the highest in the last 45 years. Our food inflation rate is touching 10%. Onions are costing 100 rupees a kg in the market. With these massive issues and problems, and let me tell you one more thing, Bangladesh is growing at a faster pace than we are. This has never happened before, but that's the truth currently. And in the last 5 years, Bangladesh has consistently been growing at a faster rate than India. This has never happened before, only last 5 years. Under these circumstances, I ask the people of India and my government and my Prime Minister, my Finance Minister and my Home Minister, Sir, Madam, and to all the bhakts of the Bharatiya Janata Party, shouldn't we be focusing on the economic growth? Shouldn't we be focusing on how we can get jobs back, how we can get growth back? Or should we just proceed further blindly and with our ears shut and bulldoze our way into deciding what you think is the idea of India without having any idea of India? Think about it. With that said, I'm gonna end this video. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Share this video if you like its content. And if you're watching this video on my YouTube channel, do subscribe to it. If you're watching this video on Facebook on a page of mine, make sure you like the page. Thank you so much. Until next time, until another video. Thank you. So with that said, I'll end this video. Jai Hind दोस्तों.